Hey, hello everyone. So we are waiting for another few minutes for people to joining in. So Mr. Stewart, so we already have like a few people joining in. So
Oh,
right now,
right. Okay. Right. How
two.
few is a few?
hmm So right now, I'm trying to promote this webinar again to and giving links to everyone right now. We'll see how.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Hmm.
Okay. Uh,
Okay. We cool.
um, I guess we'll wait another a couple of minutes and then we can go. And then
All
I'll
right.
start introducing.
And they're all dialing in from campus, is it?
Campus. I'm not sure about that. Maybe they
Okay. Doesn't
came
matter.
from their
Yeah.
personal laptop in their, homes and
Oh,
everything.
right. Okay.
Okay, right.
Bless you.
Right. To people who just joining in, so we're gonna wait another minute before we
Hmm.
start the webinar sessions. All right. So I guess we can go now.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. So welcome to another webinar session. So my name is Muhammad Rafiq. So I'm actually from Sales Jaffa, and and I would like to say welcome to our very little webinar sessions. So our topic today is going to be understanding downstream business in Shell, Malaysia, with Mr. Stuart here. And as you might, I'm gonna talk a little bit about Shell. So Shell is an integrated energy company that aims to meet the world's growing demand for energy in ways that are economically, environmentally, and socially responsible. So that is Shell, and um, I guess I would go to Mr. Stewart. You can maybe introduce yourself too. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Rafiq. Yeah, and what is important is that I am very glad you called us an integrated energy company. We do not call ourselves a traditional oil and gas company anymore because there's a lot more that we do than just pure oil and gas, which I hope that by the end of this session, I can explain as much as I can. A little bit about myself. My name is Stuart Ng. I am currently the country manager for lubricants supply chain in Malaysia. I am based in several places, Kuala Lumpur, Port Dickson, where we have our plant, a manufacturing plant. I do spend time in Port Klang because I have a regional distribution center there. And I also spend quite a fair bit of time in East Malaysia. Yes, we have operations in East Malaysia as well. Yeah. What do I do? Well, literally everything in the supply chain for lubricants, yeah, from manufacturing to distribution, planning in between there. I look after health, safety, security, and environment of the operations as well, and also just as importantly, customer service and quality of our products to our end customers. Rafik, back to you.
Right. Thank you. Okay. So before we going on, before we proceed with our sessions right now, I would like to say to everyone, if you guys have any question, so you guys can just put your questions on the Q&A feature down below at your screen. It is right down there, and it's called Q&A, and just write your question there, because we will go through all of them throughout the webinar sessions that we are having right now. And after we're done with the presentation from Mr. Stewart, we will try to answer all of the questions that are being posted here. If we can't answer all of the questions, we will have someone answer the question online, because we can still write our question here inside this Q&A box, right? So
All right.
I guess we can proceed with the presentation now.
Sure. Thank you very much again, Rafik. Yes, I would actually say that let's set a little bit of expectations. I would actually say that I am not going to spend too much time on all the slides. Let's have a conversation. So please keep the questions coming. Before I officially start, safety is a very important aspect in our operations in Shell. So I ask of everyone who is in the call to know where your escape routes in wherever you are that you're dialing in from, yeah, in case of any emergencies. And I hope that everyone also understands the emergency response procedures wherever you are, even if you are dialing in from a campus room or from a house or room that you are renting. Yeah, so please be aware of your surroundings, and if you do need to go on an emergency, yeah, please do. There's nothing more important than saving your own life. Thank you. Yeah. Right. Okay. So what is important right now? Let's move to the presentation per se. So who are we? Yeah, the first slide that you're probably looking at now, yeah, with a couple of pictures is who are we? Well, we are Shell. We are an integrated energy company. Yeah. Why we are no longer calling ourselves a traditional oil and gas company is because for years now, Shell as a company has realized that oil is finite. It is not infinite. There will be one day where our wells will dry. Yeah. And it is also in line with whatever is happening in today's world, whereby we are going for cleaner and cleaner energy sources. Yeah. Shell is a company that does not want to miss out on these opportunities. And hence, we are doing actually a lot more than just oil extraction and creating products out of crude oil. Yeah. We have moved beyond that in such a way that we are also looking at cleaner sources of energy, electricity, for example, yeah, hydrogen fuel cells. There's a couple of things that I would quickly mention, but more on that when the questions and answers come in and when the slides progress. Yeah, so I will move on to the next slide. Yeah. So again, yeah, I've mentioned a little bit. We are now very much an innovation-driven company. Yeah. These days, Shell do not just limit itself into just, like I said, yeah, exploration, digging and extracting crude oil from the ground, yeah, and then refine it to become fuels that we use in our car, etc. Yeah, that is very traditional in that sense. We need to move with the times. Yeah, so we have actually done a lot more than just producing an end product for consumers. We are doing more and more, especially in the downstream space, which I will talk about a lot more later, on how we build an experience for our consumers, and we tie ourselves to important uh, actions, aspects, and activities. Formula One is definitely one of them, so that it enhances the brand image and the mind share of people to the brand of Shell. I'm sure many of you know Formula One per se. Yeah. All right. So more often than not these days, we meet more than just energy needs of someone wanting to fill petrol into a car. We want to make the person feel a very strong sense of experience, a pleasant experience when they actually pump petrol, yeah, or diesel at a retail station. When they buy a bottle of lubricant, which will eventually be poured into the sump of their motor cars or motorcycles. Yeah, we'll go more on that as we progress, and do keep the questions coming. Now, a little bit about where we stand. Shell is a company that's been around for a good number of years. Yeah, globally, we have been in existence for hundreds of years. Malaysia alone, we recently 2 years ago celebrated our 125th anniversary in Malaysia. Yeah, operations of Shell. Yes, there's 125 years in a tiny little country called Malaysia. The first thing that happened was an exploration in this little quaint, quiet town called Miri. Yeah, and eventually it spread towards today, where Shell is one of the very few, we call it as a non-national oil and gas company, that happens to be number one in a market whereby a country already has a national oil company. I'm not going to mention the name. I think most of you know who that is. Yeah. But yet we are number one in terms of market share and in terms of even mind share of consumers. More on that later. But really, yeah, globally, we remain as a top 50 in the Times for employers, yeah, particularly for women over the years, yeah. The hiring of women into the workforce is gaining momentum. Let me share with you, even in Malaysia itself, under our country coordination team, which is all the most senior leaders of working in the country, we have a good healthy number of women leaders who represent, yeah, various departments. Yeah, we are also ranked as the 16th best in LinkedIn. Well, I mean, I cannot verify this. I'm sure somebody have verified these details before putting it up on a slide as the one of the most attractive, yeah, places to work in. Yeah, and that comes from LinkedIn. That means something, because LinkedIn, I'm sure many of you probably have an account. Yeah, right. If not, please do visit the website. I'm not advertising, but it is very, very useful. Yeah. All right. And we operate in so many countries across the world. Yeah. We spend close to 1.1 billion on R&D, research and development. Yeah. For the rest of them, I can say that, have a quick look at these slides and keep the questions coming. Yeah. Now, what do we do? Yeah. Now we go a little bit deeper on what Shell is on a traditional sense first. Yeah. We, of course, on a traditional sense, we explore, we look for oil wells. Well, I mean, there's a lot of technical matters that for me to explain here, but that would take a lot of time. Do read up how exploration of oil and gas is done. But we have teams of people who knows how to pinpoint where we should actually get and extract crude out. Yeah. Once we have the oil, typically the oil as a crude itself, it gets traded, but on its own it can't be used. You need to refine it. Yeah, you need to refine it, and you need to turn it into products that can be used by consumers and the industry. And that's where, from development extraction, we go to manufacturing and energy production. Yeah, that's where lubricants are derived. That's where the fuels you put into your car are derived, and that's where the tar or bitumen on the road are derived. Yeah. But of course, when we have this product, you have to distribute it, and that's where transport and trading comes into play to make sure that it gets to the final user, the products that we have in our portfolio. Yeah. All right. Of course, to introduce that, we need people to sell. Yeah. So never ever underestimate the importance of sales in downstream operations. Without sales, the products will just be there. Yeah. It does not get to the mind of the consumer. Yeah. Okay. Well, we have many projects across Shell globally. Now, what you see on the screen right now, majority of them are actually what we call as the upstream operations. Yeah, that doesn't mean that nothing happens in downstream. Yeah, because typically why you see this on the screen is because the big mega structure type of projects usually comes from upstream, and perhaps what we term in Shell as midstream, yeah, heavy manufacturing and refinery. Yeah, and something interesting here that Shell pioneered is, if you look to your top right, Pearl GTL, gas to liquid, that is a technology that we have specifically created in Shell, whereby we compress, I'll go a little bit technical, we compress gas, yeah, as in LPG type of gas, yeah, into a liquid that can then be used as a base oil to create very linear chain base oils, yeah. That becomes a very important property in making high quality end products like lubricants. Yeah, all right. Typically in downstream, it will be smaller scale, and that's why you don't really see them there. But it is very important that downstream has operations as a support, bringing all these products, yeah, to the end consumer. Malaysia at a glance, we have actually, Malaysia is a very interesting country in the sense that we have both upstream and downstream and even midstream, because at least we used to have a refinery, yeah, but we continue to be involved in such activities as well. But yes, upstream is a very big department in and function in Shell Malaysia. Yeah, we do a lot of exploration across East Malaysia, especially. Yeah, and we recently also found very important oil wells and gas wells in northern part of Sabah. Yeah, and that continues. Yeah, that continues to be an important part of building our strength and portfolio in Shell. Moving on to downstream. Yeah, we have up to 900 stations alone in this tiny little country. Yes, our closest competitor, the National Oil and Gas Company, actually has more, but yet even with that, we are still number one in terms of retail, and we're also number one when it comes to lubricants. Yeah, what is important is that to drive all this, yeah, we have strong processes to ensure that, given that we do deal with dangerous goods, yeah, we have a very strong health, safety, security, and environment culture. Yeah, you can ask questions on that as well as we progress. Yep. So I've mentioned we've been here for 125 years. We continue to see growth in this country. Yeah, and that is why it continues to be a very attractive option for graduates to join. And given that I was also a graduate, yeah, I can vouch that there is very strong programs to develop talent in Malaysia. And Malaysia, for your information, is also a great talent creating country. We have many very senior leaders today in Shell across the globe who are actually Malaysians. Well, presence in Malaysia, I've mentioned quite a fair bit about it already. Yeah. Again, please have a look at this. We can go into questions and answers later. Yeah. But essentially, my strength is downstream. Yeah, because I come from the downstream business. Yeah. So do post questions there, but I can answer some general matters on upstream and projects and technology as well. Yep. Locations in Malaysia, other than our beautiful headquarters building in KL Central, a very unique looking building, which is a green building, by the way. Yeah, I'm sure millennials like yourself will understand what green building means. Yeah, we actually have across the whole country, yeah, several locations that are very important. You see to the bottom left, there is Shell Business Operations, which is located in Cyberjaya, our very own Silicon Valley. Yeah, and that's where we call it the offshoring operations of customer service, HR services, etc. actually sit. Yeah, of course, where is closest to me, there's a lubricants oil blending plant based in Port Dickson, in the state of Negeri Sembilan. Going over to East Malaysia, we have offices across the two states in Sabah and Sarawak. Yeah. Okay, now I'll pause for a very short while just to have everybody see this. Now, this is going a little bit deeper into the operations and business that I am in, which is lubricants. Yeah, I am under the global commercial lubricants business, lubricants supply chain operations, a part of a very big uh, uh, function for Shell in Downstream. Yeah, we literally take care of lubricating and greasing solutions for our customers, put bitumen on the roads, refuel our aircrafts, yeah, that fly across to perhaps many countries where you guys are based in as well, yeah, and even including Air Asia, yeah. These are our customers, yeah. But for lubricants, yeah, so if you look right in the center, top 27% of market share in Malaysia. Many may think that that doesn't seem like a very big number, but really, yeah, because there are so many players across, so much competition in downstream. 27% of market share is very high. Yeah, we are number one in Malaysia because of this, and Malaysia is so interesting in a sense that 27% of market share in lubricants is the highest in the world compared to any country, just by a country. Typically, yeah, on average globally, Shell in some countries, even though they are number one, they're probably about less than 20%. So Malaysia is very high. We have a very, very strong brand and mindshare presence among our customers, and we continue to be that, yeah, for more than 12 years already, despite the fact that, again, we have a national oil and gas company, yeah, in place. Yeah, all right. The rest of them, I'll leave you to have a quick look at it, yeah, because that talks a little bit more about the product portfolio and business. Now, down to the nitty-gritty of where I come from, yeah. So we have an old plant, a 40 plus year old lubricant oil blending plant based in Port Dickson, but we continue to churn out products that support the business growth and the market share in Malaysia. We actually produce a myriad of products, from industrial oil, gear oils, hydraulic oils, engine oils, in terms of lubricants for our consumers in Malaysia, and we even export to countries like Australia and the Philippines. Yeah. Well, we do not produce everything, yeah, because the lubricants is a very global and regional based business. So whatever we don't produce, because we don't have enough scale or volume to produce efficiently in our country, we network from other countries, yeah, like for example Hong Kong, which have their own plant as well, Thailand, yeah, etc. But we also export, as I said just now, to other countries as well, yeah. And this is how I effectively distribute lubricants across the country. We have one big warehouse in Port Klang, if you see in brackets RDC, and we have smaller warehouses across East Malaysia. Yeah, so everything comes from Port Klang, goes over to East Malaysia, and gets distributed from Port Klang as well across Malaysia. Yeah, and that's where we continue to support the business as the number one lubricants business in Malaysia. Yep, we are very special. Yeah, all this print speaks for itself. Yeah, despite the fact that we are old and small compared to perhaps plants in lubricant oil blending plants in China, for example, we are a very, very nimble plant, and we have the right resources in our team as well. Yep. So very quickly, why join Shell? Yeah, I've talked a little bit about what we do, but what is important for you as graduates in joining a good company? like Shell. First and foremost, and coming from my own experience, and again, please do ask questions. Yeah, coming from my own experience, yeah, it has been a great one, because I do feel, despite the fact that Shell has been around for so long, it is a company that continues to evolve, especially when it comes to hiring talent and grooming and developing talent. Yeah, it is a company that stretches you to develop your own potential. Yeah. It is a company that gives you a lot of opportunities to network with various people across different businesses and operations in the company. It is a company that gives you, even when you are a fresh graduate, stretched targets, yeah, to achieve, so that helps you achieve your maximum potential. Yeah. Let me give you a little bit of a background. When I was a graduate, yeah, I was actually hired into I graduated as a chemical engineer, but I was hired into a sales and marketing team. Yeah. And that's how they stretched me in terms of my commercial strengths. Yeah. And build a market. At that time, I was with the chemicals business. Yeah. And build the chemicals market in Malaysia. I learned a lot from there, and also been able to use the good chemical engineering background that I have. Yeah. Right. And even up till today, yeah, when I am already about 12 years in the company, I continue to grow and understand, because we are very forward looking. Yeah, it is a company that allows you to understand what good things are happening out there that you can bring back as best practices into the company. Yeah. So in other words, it is a very conducive company to work for, where, as a graduate, you have opportunities to actually develop yourself, do a lot of networking, get to know people, get to know the business. The only caveat is, of course, you are expected to perform to your highest levels to be given these type of opportunities. Yeah. Of course, these are general factors which I will not speak too much. But in short, yeah, generally Shell is a company that encourages individuals to go out of their comfort zone, and that's what I really particularly like. Yeah, it doesn't mean that if you're hired into Malaysia, yeah, for example, there'll be no opportunities for you to work in high growth countries like Indonesia, like China, as long as you show that potential and that hunger to do it. Yeah. All right. And of course, even in Malaysia itself, yeah, you will be given opportunities and also to be stretched. If you are from, let's say, for example, Central in Kuala Lumpur, yeah, never, ever, yeah, restrict yourself to just being working in a Kuala Lumpur office. Give yourself that opportunity to venture forth into other areas in Malaysia. That's how you develop, and Shell can provide that opportunity, again, as long as you have that desire, that hunger, that want, and you are performing to your fullest potential. Yeah, it gives you a myriad of experience. Yeah. So a little bit about the Shell graduate program. I may need my HR colleagues to help me a little bit on this as well, because the graduate program that I came from probably is a little bit outdated. Yeah, over 12 years, but uh, it continues to evolve, and that's what I love about it. Yeah, and that's why this is a great company to work for. Yeah. So again, once you're hired as a graduate, expectations will be set. You do go, let me be perfectly honest, yeah, and open and transparent about this. You do go through quite a challenging session, yeah, in the Shell recruitment drive, yeah, where you will be exposed and challenged in various ways to ensure that Shell is hiring the right talent into the company. And once you are, you will be assigned to a respective job depending on, several things. Number one, your skill sets, what kind of background you are from, and even your strengths. Yeah, and that's how I got into in sales and marketing instead of engineering in the first place. That somebody saw my strength in commercialism. Yeah, right. So you will be given challenging roles from the start, but you will be guided. yeah, by whoever you report to, and of course our HR, yeah. And throughout the way, as a graduate, you will be given chances to actually express yourself and also provide two-way feedback with your line managers, supervisors, and HR on how you are developing while you are working for the company and how you then become future leaders. Yeah. Well, of course, the company does pay pretty well. Okay, so what are we looking for? Yeah, now this is just three elements. I know it's very broad, yeah, but capacity in the person. How much can you be stretched? How much can you go for it? How far can you go in the company? Yeah, achievement. We need results. Yeah, you do not come into a company like Shell and thinking that you're just continuously learning without giving back results to the company. A company is investing in you. You need to give that back to the company and help the company grow, which then the company will reciprocate in helping you grow. Yeah. And good relationships. This is not just internal in Shell, with your colleagues. Yeah. Relationships with suppliers, external parties, including the government, because we want to make sure that we create a very healthy environment, yeah, to work in Shell. Yeah. And that does help with the company's growth ambitions. Okay, how to apply? Well, there's a lot that can be found out just by going to the www.shell.com. Yeah, you can learn a lot about that. So I think I'm not going to spend too much time here. Yeah, so please take time to learn about that. Yeah, do I need to show the video? Okay. Okay, so I've been told that we don't need to show a video. Apparently, the video is available online. So, well, no video. Sorry. Yeah. So you're left with me as we approach the question and answer session. Okay, so bring them on, all the difficult questions that you have. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So right now we already have like one question here. So
Just one.
so far, so from Afif Zulkifli, hi, I have a question. How will the National Oil Company's new plant in Pangerang affect Shell business?
Oh, well, that's a very interesting question. You've been doing your reading. Yeah.
Hmm.
But really, of course, we do understand as a company in Shell that there are things that will limit our opportunities, yeah, whenever we are not a national oil and gas company. Yes, so we already know that there's a lot of investment that our main competitor, the national oil and gas company, will put in Pengerang. And with Pengerang, actually, they will increase the capacity, yeah, by almost twofold. That is a serious competition to us. However, yeah, we cannot just sit back and allow, as a company, we do not just sit back and allow them to take away our rice bowl, so to speak. Yeah, there will be plans to be developed on how we counter through stronger brand share, marketing strategies, yeah, getting the consumers to understand us better, give different experience to our consumers. I mentioned earlier in the earlier part of this presentation that more than just a retail station for you to pump fuel. Yeah, when you enter a brand new Shell station today, you get more than just fuel. When you enter the Shell shop, yeah, it's almost like a cafe environment because we want to entice the consumers to understand that there's a lot more that can be done than just refueling. Yeah, you can take a coffee, you can take a pastry. Yeah, if you want to, there's a whole range of lubricants in the retail station itself. You can just grab it, and if that station has a lube bay, you can even do a lubricant oil change on the spot while you are having your coffee. Yeah, and that is the kind of environment that we want to create, a holistic experience for the customer. Yeah, all right. And of course, a little bit more technical would be to enhance our supply chain to make sure that we move our products faster to the end users. Yeah, and that a lot of work is being done by operational departments like distribution, supply chain in lubricants, and things like that. And of course, most important of all, we continue to review our products, and we produce products that meets the needs of the customers. Yeah, so these are things that we need to do. Yeah, we, even though we are in a way short-handed compared to the kind of investments that our main competitor can do. Yeah. Next question.
Okay, another question from Surenta Manoharan. As mentioned earlier, Shell is an integrated energy company. I'm currently enrolling in Bachelor of Renewable Energy Engineering. How wide is the opportunity for me to work in the renewable energy sector in Shell?
Well, the simple answer to that, it is getting wider. In fact, there is a department that is already set up just a couple of years ago, looking into this sector, which actually invest heavily in research and development, and also finding ways of increasing our energy portfolio. A lot of concentration today is on gas and power, yeah, because we know gas is a cleaner energy than crude oil itself, and there are many derivatives that we can do with gas. Gas itself can actually refuel a car, for example. Gas itself today, Shell have found out that we can compress it to become very clean base oils, yeah, right, that can be used to produce better and cleaner products like lubricants. Yeah. And we also know that, with gas, the opportunities are even wider, because again, power stations, power electric generators even more cleanly. And that then goes back into part of the research by Shell, how we can increase electric terminals even in our stations to cater for the growing market of electric and hybrid vehicles. So there are many things that we can do. So the opportunity is getting bigger and bigger. Even though a lot of these start from Europe, we already have in our neighboring country, Singapore, a regional office to look after these things. So very soon these things will also spread into Malaysia, where clearly there is growth in this market. Next question.
Okay, so far we haven't have any other new
It's
question
too early
from.
for them, is it? They haven't had their coffee or Milo, whichever they prefer.
Well, but I personally have question. About,
Okay, yes, please.
so well, we know that the world is going to a new digital transformation. I mean, what they call it, fourth industrial revolution. So I was thinking about, so what are the initiatives that being done or maybe in process by Shell in trying to catch up this wave of 4.0 industrial revolution?
Yep, great question. Thank you for asking that. And this is why, again, I come back to the point, and thank you again that we now calling us an integrated energy company. We as a company globally in Shell, yeah, we realize that we cannot be left behind on this. Yeah. So there are actually initiatives done by every business that is in Shell. Yeah. We call it future growth. Yeah. All right. And it's instilled in a lot of operations and even in downstream sales and marketing today. Yeah. We are building the blocks of understanding how we can use very useful technology, yeah, to build a strong database like blockchain, for example. There's extensive research now on blockchain. Yeah. How we can use that so that we integrate the entire operations right down to our customers in understanding what is the consumer trends, yeah, what is the new markets that we can venture into, yeah, and that brings back into the traditional operations. I think one of the things that I can very clearly share is on the side of supply chain. Yeah, so we are working with companies like very strong. I wouldn't name names of these companies because I do not advertise them, but very strong global players in the logistics and supply chain businesses, yeah, to develop supply chain methods, yeah, that can literally trace from the point a product is produced until the product has been completed in terms of consumption by a customer, to the point where we can see is that how long it takes for a customer to complete consuming this product. So in the future is very bright for all this, because we can then understand a consumption pattern for these customers, and we replenish our production and distribution to these customers on time as an entire what do you call uh, experience for our customers, and using it as a customer value proposition. Yeah, yes, it is still being studied, how we integrate everything, because we are a very big company, but there are things that is being done, and it's a very exciting space.
Okay. Okay. Another question. So we have question from Afif Zulkifli. As you have mentioned before, the refinery plant in Port Dickson is 40 plus years old. Is there any plans of upgrading the machineries there, and or plans of new green plant somewhere else in Malaysia?
Well, that's a great question. I will answer the first question because that's exactly what I know. Yes, there are upgrades, but these are not like major, big bang upgrade, and we tear down everything and we put everything new. Yeah, so it is actually a step by step upgrade. I have a senior leader who likes to use the word Lego style. Yeah, upgrade. That means piece by piece. Yeah, the reason is because despite the fact that we want to grow, yeah, etc., there are costs that we need to manage as well, and a big bang change could be very, very costly to the operations. So there is always a study behind it to know that, do we really need a big bang, or can we do a step change? And the good thing is, over the 40 years that we've been operating this lubricant oil blending plant in Port Dickson, there is always a step change. Yeah, so we change bit by bit to meet the market growth. Yeah, all the way until one fine day where we've already stretched the limit and we know that we need to do something different, and that's where a different conversation comes in. So that partially answers the second part of the question as well, whether or not we're going to invest in a brand new plant, green technology and things like that. Yeah, so it is not so soon in the future. We milk the cow first, yeah, and we continue with the step change until we know that we can no longer sustain. And that's where then a different conversation of investment comes into place. Yeah, and of course, with riding on the wave of all these modern technologies and supply chain, yeah, who knows? Yeah, who knows that we can actually produce products anywhere in the world and get distributed in Malaysia. Yeah. Last
Okay.
question, perhaps one last question, and we can, unfortunately, because we're coming soon to the end of it.
Yeah, true. So if anyone have any question, one last question that we can answer here, feel free to answer. So, oh yeah. So right now we don't have any new question.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, if there isn't any, yeah, we can actually officially close this. I'm looking at my HR colleagues. She's nodding her head. Yeah, we can officially close this. I'd like to thank you, Rafiq, and everyone for spending the time. I know it's a little bit early in Europe. Yeah, yeah. Good thing that I'm not seeing everyone in their pajamas or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, thank you very much for your time. I hope this has been useful. Please continue, yeah, to understand Shell as a company. Yeah, there are websites, there are people you can contact when you go into the website for questions and answers. Yeah, and if you still have any questions, you can. I think earlier you mentioned, Rafiq, that you can compile these questions for future answering. So once again, thank you very much to everyone. Yeah. Happy studying. Yeah. Get a great degree. Join Shell. Thank you.
Right, thank you. So that is from Mr. Stewart. So before we end this webinar sessions, I would like to say that if you have any question pertaining to the grad program or application process, you can just go to the the floor to the virtual career floor. So we have a breakout sessions. We have group sessions from Shell. You can just request and then ask more about this thing, right? Okay, thank you everyone, and thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Bye everyone.